Jamu. She been a pen go day. About the little cocoa on the tree. Them a cuckoo-rock-a-do-la-do-la-do. Them a cuckoo-rock-a-do-la-do-la-do. You know hear what the old man say. Yeah. And you know hear what Jack Coleman say. About the little cocoa on the tree. Them a cuckoo-rock-a-do-la-do-la-do. Them a cuckoo-rock-a-do-la-do-la-do. How you feeling? This is the root, you know? And now you know the truth. When I call your name, well, it's when I call your name, you feel no pain. And when I call your name, you'll never be ashamed. I wanna hold you in. Tell me what am I to do? Wicked. Now you know the truth. Cause that is the rule. Rah! Who are you? That time. Should be mindful of. Read it up. 1962. That make me to about 18 years old. Hey, 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 Big man. Who are you that I should be mindful of? You run for refuge and were rescued. That's not right. Then why lie and try to hide the hand that feeds you? Yes, the good you do is after you. Now hear this. You could puff, puff and puff till you puff. It shall be rough, rough and tough on your side. Oh, so stop the lie. Don't try to find the hand that feeds you. For the good you lives after you. How you feeling?
I want you to carry this on the road for me. And don't take no time from nobody. Just do what me tell you for the since time. And make sure that everything work according to all man, everything to work. See? Take back yourself and bring up yourself in one piece. Make sure you reach. Hear me? Lord of mercy. Hey, Lord of His mercy. Lord of mercy. Driver, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. No time to delay. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. No time to delay.
I want to tell you, my friend, that like I'm falling this world. Oh, if you don't know my friend, they don't be standing down, throw away your seeds, I want to see.
Up you mighty race, over the hurdles and into the changeover, through the tape, from survivors to successors. Oh, yes, I got.
The race is not for the swift, nor the battle for the strong.
Straight up, Monday to Fridays, 9 till midday. I'm your host, Robin Jerry Small, News Talk 93 FM.
You done stole my belongings and give to your Chinese man. God in heaven knows, He knows that you are wrong. Are you a Chinese man? Are you a black man? It don't need no eyeglass to see that your skin is black. Do you prefer your Chinese man to your fellow black man? Speak up, friend. It's plain to understand. It won't be very long.
It won't be very long. Morning and welcome to Straight Up. I'm your host, Jerry Small. 50 years ago, around about this time, it was actually started in August, but it went on through September. 50 years ago, around about this time, the urban population, the African urban population of Jamaica, and later the entire island-wide population, was provoked into some physical and very unpleasant demonstration against the bad treatment of servants and other niggers by some of the Chinese business people in Jamaica. There has been an ambivalent relationship between the Chinese business people and the African population of Jamaica. I think that the African population, like the Chinese businessman and business people very much, they have a kind of love and resentment, a combination of love and resentment attitude between the mass of the African population and the Chinese business people in Jamaica. Very likable relationship, but at the same time easily to be irritated. And the Chinese being very diplomatic. More time them take a lot of the insults quietly, but underneath they also hurt and so on. And in their own way, push back. Push back in some sort of way that you do have no of them are push back, but they're not very civilized and thing. Now Omar Davis been warning that some of the resentment against the domination of the Jamaican scene by China, not the old time Chinese Jamaican, by China and the new Chinese nationals. Nationals mean the citizens of China today, not the citizens of Jamaica. The citizens of China and their government, the resentment that is being expressed about their domination along with their Jamaican agents. Some of them in the government, some in the cabinet, and some in the private sector, and all about the agents of China and the domination of China. Omar Davis says some of the resentment is racist. Racist, he might look out in us. Some of the resentment that they are black people in Jamaica feel about the Chinese domination, China domination, is racist. But you know, I am talking about the racist behavior of many of these new Chinese nationals, whether it's government, China government workers, or whether it's the business people them downtown. You know, I am talking about that. Now, recently, him say, you hear about the lady who is taking legal action against a China national businessman who, when she objected to the shoddy goods, bad counterfeit goods that him sell her, when she objected to the counterfeit and shoddy goods that him sell her, him rush out her shop and physically assault her, resulting in a broken ribs and more damage. And she's going to take further action more than getting him arrested. He was arrested. She's going to take further action. Now, China specializes in manufacturing counterfeit goods. China specializes in manufacturing counterfeit goods. Any brand name we have, any Duracell or any Nike shoes or any brand name that you have that is great. Even Jamaican music. In China, the government go along with China business people manufacturing counterfeit goods and selling it out into the world. Counterfeit goods. That's one of them specialty of making money easy. Making the counterfeit goods very cheap, selling it out in the world and being able to sell it for less money than what the real manufacturer can make it for. And making a killing. Both killing the dollar of the people who buy it. Because when you buy counterfeit goods, the dollar get killed. You're getting nothing for your money. And killing off the people who making the genuine goods. Cause just like how the man will take your music CD and go burn it. The pirate them will burn people's CD and sell it on sidewalk. Can sell it for cheaper than what the artist and the producer make it for. So they will always be making more money than the artist and the producer and robbing the artist and producer and claim say them just a try live a decent life and them a try don't rob people and them just a burn 2 CD. It's a robbery. It's robbery. So now, when Omar Davis went to the World Champs the other day, he must combine in business and pleasure. Never just go to World Champs. Go down there for a reason with him. Real boss them. For him real boss is not Portia Simpson Millennium. For him real boss is some Chinaman down in China. He's one of the principal representatives of them. And he also mentioned yesterday that he is determined to, or he is intending to facilitate the handing over of Norman Manley Airport to the Chinese. The control of Norman Manley Airport, they intend to hand it over to Chinese. The same China Harbour, where so them come for build a road. Them is taking over all aspects of business in Jamaica. Them also helping the university to rebuild the campus and the hospital. That's great, but that's a loan. That's a loan. It will be paid back by the university. But they are taking over all kind of business in Jamaica, including tourism and including the ports, both the airport and the seaport. Because in addition, just as Omar Davis said yesterday, in addition to them taking over Norman Manley Airport, which is them intention, and they will be assisted by their agents in the Jamaica government. Their agents in the Jamaica government and the Jamaica cabinet. They will be also be given permission to build cruise port in Kingston. Right on the same land where the airport, they're right beside it, they're going to build cruise port for taking ship. Cruise ship and control cruise shipping and traveling in and out of Jamaica. Not only air travel but sea travel. Much less the road travel with them control already through the road construction. So that is the main reason why Omar Davis changed his mind. Say him not going to give up his seat at the end of this 5-year term, which might end anytime soon with the election. The election is being held early, which him probably expected that it will keep till next year. And when him realized that his own party is keeping the election this year and therefore he would have to give up his seat, he wouldn't be so useful to the Chinese without a seat. So while he was at the World Champs, he make the decision that he's going to run against, claiming that he have other work to do in the constituency, such as building sports facility and building more educational facility. But his constituency is not just down in concrete jungle here. His constituency is Jamaica, because he is one of the facilitators of China in Jamaica. He is one of the main facilitators of the Chinese in Jamaica, China. And therefore he would be more useful to them if he continue in Parliament. So them kill two birds with one stone, go watch the World Champs and go make some decision with them boss. Real bosses down there in China. They are like the dudus. The JLP had dudus. And China have their men in Jamaica. Their dudus in Jamaica. Yes, they do. What else I go on? Play back the Blackhead Chinaman for me. Please play back the Blackhead Chinaman for me. I will make a keep a hype on them.
You done stole my belongings and give to your Chinese man. God in heaven knows, He knows that you are wrong. Are you a Chinese man? Are you a black man? It don't need no eye glass to see that your skin is black. Do you prefer your Chinese man to your fellow black man? Speak up, friend. It's plain to understand. It won't be very long. They'll have a change of plan to use you and use you, then refuse you. As you are the first blackhead Chinese man.
Parents were from Hong Kong. Every man has a right to where he belongs. So declare yourself and tell me where you are from.
your man has a right to where he belongs. So declare yourself and tell me where you are from. So declare yourself and tell me where you are from. Since you be known right now, the first black-headed Chinese man.
Yes, it's true. 50 years ago, the place would flare up away August 1965, going into September, because of that blatant abuse of that worker in the Chinese establishment downtown. And you know, so them nearly kill Ken Bood, because when the police start to round up the little black people, them who start to demonstrate all over Jamaica and Kingston, them hold on upon Ken Bood, a little 19-year-old youth at the time. He wasn't even 19. He was about 17. Hold on upon Ken Bood, and one policeman hold him on an extra, wanna try shot him. And the shot miss and go kill the other policeman where hold the young Ken Bood. Otherwise, they hear say Ken Bood dead, rioting against Chinese people and mashing up China people shop. As a teenager, they hear the news. Well, now, we're hearing how people in political position and in civil servant position is taking the farmers' money and lending it to themselves. Them things be going on for years. Even that ministers and permanent secretaries thieving farm worker money. Over the years, many decades, there's only one minister and one permanent secretary go to prison for it. Did the permanent secretary go to prison or was he let go? But one minister got prison for it, but many others have been thieving them money over the years from in the 50s and the 40s. Now permanent secretary get loan that is designed for cane farmer, but I hear that the permanent secretary is a cane farmer. The permanent secretary and the minister of agriculture, the same one that was crying so much when Roger Clark did. Remember, he was crying a lot. He's very articulate, can speak very well and can relate to him subject. I know him subject agriculture very well. Mr. What's his name again? Name slip me. But him get loan designed for cane farmer. Yes, him is a cane farmer. But being the permanent secretary, that official that's supposed to be the accounting officer, I'm supposed to be in charge and careful about the money being spent in the ministry. And supposed to be preventing other people in the ministry and officials and from taking loan for themselves, even if they are a farmer. Avoid that. You are in charge of that, so avoid that. Instead of him avoiding that, he is taking a loan that come into cane farmer loan. Now imagine. And other people in other agricultural funds that is there, other agricultural banks, chairman of boards of agricultural banks organizing loan for themselves out of the bank. And $600 million, I believe, missing out of one of them banks. Get bankrupt and all for the members of the board I get loan. Meanwhile, them supposed to be distributing the loan to the people of Jamaica, taking the loan them for themselves. And a lot of these loans will never be paid back, like how some of them 100 million loan to government ministers in the 90s and different times. Don't pay back. That's how the economy of Jamaica and the value of the dollar get crashed through the 90s. Government ministers getting hundreds of $millions of unsecured loan and getting all kind of property and hotel and great house and all kind of thing for borrow and not pay back none. You understand me? So this is it. Remember that them have the medical marijuana symposium at UWI today, this afternoon. I think it's 3 o'clock. Very important. Medical marijuana symposium. And also today, the banquet being held by the 12 tribe to raise funds to sustain the school that they run in Ethiopia, in Shashamane. By the way, today is not really Ethiopian New Year's Day. This year is a leap year in the Ethiopian calendar. It's a leap year in the Ethiopian calendar, so the real New Year is tomorrow the 12th. It's usually on the 11th of September every year. But as you know, in the leap year system, that year is 1 day longer to make up for the quarter days that it really takes the earth to revolve around the sun. The earth takes 365.25 days to go around the sun. So every 4 years it make up to a full day extra for go on the calendar. And this is the Ethiopian New Year. So this outer many one thing spread to the agricultural ministry. This outer many one housing trust. People, I mean the people who are supposed to be guarding the trust of the Jamaican people to provide housing, namming out the money and bailing out them friends with the money. It spread to the agricultural ministry and agricultural sector. Managers and board members giving themselves PC bank loan. Cane expansion fund, a fund supposed to help expand the cultivation of cane, is being raided because certain officials have a sweet tooth. So you soon hear Damien and Dayton, the two DC, them have the PNP, coming out in a them defense. You soon hear them. The Vuvuzelas have the PNP, Damien and Dayton. The Vuvuzelas have the PNP. You hear Damien tell you where they say him trick the people, them. So you must know, say, when him put on him dreadlocks, that is a trick too, you know. That's a trick also. Although him never declare himself to be a Rasta, matter what he stated that he is not a Rasta, but him now say it's still hold you, the image, still hold you. The image still hold you. And the European Union, that political and economic federation up in Europe, who is giving money to assist the sugar industry in Jamaica, they are very disturbed at this Stanbury, the permanent secretary, getting loan from the out of the fund. I'm very disturbed at the PC bank money where the official them about the European Union. Very disturbed. And when you hear that go on, it's no wonder that the Canadian government also very disturbed at those things. And it is the same thing like when mechanics put forward themselves as farm worker. That's why the Canadian government stop give them visa for go on farm work. Because who get farm worker ticket is not no farm worker. And who get sugar loan is not no cane farmer. And even if he was a cane farmer, they were supposed to be the watchman who preventing corruption, and them are arranged to take out money themselves. Even if them is a cane farmer, them should stay far from that. Far. But it is good for us to observe these things. Most interesting time in Jamaica, you know. I understand that the church groups, the groups of church people who standing up for certain principle in Jamaica, call themselves Jamaica Cause. And they're going to arrange to have a meeting in Harvard on the 27th of September, I think it's a Sunday. 27th of September. And they are warning against politicians who are representing Babylon and Sodom. Those church groups that call themselves Cause. Going to keep a rally in Harvard, warning the people against the politicians who represent Babylon and Sodom. And who undermine different countries and undermine their own populations to advance the cause of Babylon and Sodom. So that's on the 27th of September in Harvard. And they are lamenting the imprisonment of the U.S. official, the lady who refused to ratify no same-sex marriage as a marriage officer. And they are warning in Jamaica, so it must not be allowed in Jamaica. And they are going to keep a rally on the 27th of September in Harvard, Jamaica calls them name, warning against politicians representing Babylon and Sodom. We have Professor Robert Hill here later today. Thank God for that and for everything else. And I hear he's here already. Let's go for a break, straight up. Welcome back to Straight Up. I'm your host, Jerry Small. And we have our principal guest here today, Professor Robert Hill, the most eminent Garvey scholar in the world, especially over the last at least 40 years. At least 40 years. And I'm going to spend the rest of the day here with us. How are you doing, Bobby?
Bless up, man. Good to see you and good to be here.
Yeah, man, it's great. Especially on this campus here.
Correct.
So many things we have gone through over the last 50 years on this campus.
Very, very historically life-changing, life-altering experiences.
Yeah. You see, when you're going to go to a few calls, but after 10 o'clock, I just hear me. And, but when I remember, there was something I wanted to show you. Because a lot of people not having, as a little boy, I had the privilege of, watching my bigger brothers and my big sister and them friend them, from them a teenager and getting to know some of the well-known people in Jamaica now who was just ordinary teenagers at that time, getting to see them close up. First time I saw Bob Ronnie Tweets, his father and his family was good friend of my father, but I saw him just after him leave George's, drop home my sister one night from some academic thing that them both was doing some course. And same way I used to see people like yourself and Danville and many of the other youths of that time, Trevor Monroe from a little distance. And then now people marvel how, as a teenager, you wrote an essay. Was it a competition?
Yes, a national essay competition.
Yeah. In what year was that?
1960.
Yes, a very important year. About
Yes.
And your topic was?
Marcus Garvey.
Was that topic given to you, or was it a topic that everybody had to write about?
No, it was one of 3 topics you could choose.
Yeah. And you were a teenager at George's?
Yes.
How old were you?
I was about 17.
Yes.
And I had never heard or seen that name, Marcus Garvey, and I was 17 and didn't know what it meant.
Yes.
And I went and spoke with my uncle, Frank Hill,
Yes.
who was a journalist, and he sat me down and explained who Marcus Garvey was, and I decided I would choose that as my topic, and the essay won the national competition. And that's how my life was changed.
Yes. Was that your last year at school at George's?
It was my second to last year.
No, that was a very important year in Jamaica and in the world, 1960.
Yes, that was the year of the crescendo, you might say, of the movement led by Reverend Claudius V. Henry.
Yes.
And then his son, Reynold,
Yes.
Trevor Henry, who came down with his Free Africa Corps of brethren. And I was a little boy, just barely out of short pants. And I used to go and attend a trial at the Supreme Court. And
That's great.
Yes. Used to sit in the...
Yeah, no, it's the same way. I got to go look at the Coral Gardens trial because my old man was doing that trial in 63, so I can understand your situation then. We won't go back into it in the main part of the interview. But that year was a pivotal year because of the Henry thing, because of the challenge by JLP of the whole referendum thing, because of the Rastafari report, many things, and around the world it was a big year. The election of Kennedy, who beat Nixon.
Yes, by a small margin.
Yeah, and it was a black vote that gave Kennedy that margin, I believe.
Yes. But you're right. It was a pivotal year because it's as if everything that was building up in Jamaica broke into popular consciousness, and then the music and the rise of civil rights in America had a profound impact here on this campus. I remember seeing the daughters on this campus suddenly beginning to let their hair grow natural. And I saw a young lady one morning, and the sunlight was on her skin, and she was like glistening, and just I was transfixed by the sight of this daughter who just seemed physically to have freed herself from the sort of conventional. And it's the daughters really who pushed for change on this campus. Unfortunately, they still have not gotten the credit. And I'm in touch with Patricia Rodney. Pat was very much in the mix here. People, of course, focus on Walter, but Pat was just as important. And I just think the daughters really are the ones who step forward for black power.
Now, we'll come back to that. But as I was saying, hearing of you winning this essay competition, then now that almost starting to define your life gradually. The other day, I was clearing up some things and ran into some old school magazines. of St. Hughes from 1938, 1939.
Wow.
And when I was looking through it, why I got it in my possession is because my aunt, my father's youngest sibling,
Yes.
was the editor for the magazine at St. Hughes. She had left Grove and gone to St. Hughes.
Uh-huh.
And she was one of the few, well, there were several black girls at St. Hughes, but St. Hughes was still an exclusive school.
Yes.
And I'm going through the magazine, and I see a poem, like it Mark Man of it was a very somber name, like a man in gloom or something like that.
Yes.
When I read the poem, it was talking about a man slumped down in a chair in London in gloom because his country had been overrun by invaders.
Uh-huh.
And then she's the girl, because it's a school magazine, the girl is writing about how the man summoned back his thoughts about his history and strengthening himself and determined that he's not going to give up the fight for his people. He's in London, but his people are in Africa. And then the last two verses say, none of the people who see him looking so slumped down know that he is of the blood of Solomon, and because of that he is going to rally back and he's going to overcome. And I can't remember, I'm going to show it to you tomorrow.
Please.
The poem was about Haile Selassie in exile in London.
Yes.
And when I look at the bottom of the poem, it marks Elaine Small. What is an 18-year-old black girl in Kingston, her family emerging into the lower middle class, coming from the artisan class? What is a little black girl in 1938 concerning herself with the plight of Haile Selassie in exile in England?
Yes.
And a few days ago I likened it onto your, at that same kind of age, getting involved in an unlikely interest.
Correct.
And then it started to define your life work.
It shaped your future, your vision of what was possible.
Yeah.
And, you know, Jamaica, it felt to me, needed something to kind of jolt it out of its lethargy. And I thought, oh, Garvey could be the answer. It was because I felt there was something lacking, that we were capable of something more, that I really took up Garvey and hoped to use it as a kind of popular education.
No, just before I want to interject here now. Later on I came to learn of your association with people like Archie Singham, Carl Stone, at a time when gleaning public opinion by scientific polling was just becoming. Now in America, Gallup and those people are being established, but in Jamaica, it was just becoming established. And then now somebody else who saw ahead and made use of Archie Singham's ability, a young Siaga, was very approximate to even your young identification, because Siaga's Minister of Development, a couple of years after you wrote your essay, in 1962.
Yes.
When the JLP was in trouble, because within 2 years of independence, the JLP was in political trouble.
Yes.
And it was Siaga who helped to rescue them back by latching on to Vivian Durham and Leslie Alexander's idea to bring back Garvey's body.
Yes.
Siaga, as a government minister, facilitated back the bringing back of the body. And later it became identified even more with him more than with Leslie Alexander and Durham.
Absolutely. He displaced Leslie Alexander and Vivian Durham.
Yes.
I knew Mr. Durham.
What a character.
What a character. And I remember him telling me something. This is 1969 now, during the days of Abeng. And he used to come by the printery where we put out the newspaper.
Before them burned down the printer.
Yes, before it burned down. And I remember him saying to me, it is Rasta that mash up Jamaica, and Jamaica will never be the same again. And I stopped and looked at him and just, gave pause, because he seemed to believe deeply that the course of Jamaica's history was fundamentally altered by the power of Rasta consciousness. I'd never heard that from anybody. But he, Mr. Durham, had been an antagonist to Mr. Garvey in Jamaica. But when Mr. Durham, as a relative young man, still wanted to go to England, he wrote this letter to Marcus Garvey, who was then in England.
Already exiled.
Yes. And Garvey wrote him back a lengthy letter and said to him, now let me explain to you. If you come to England, you must be prepared to suffer because there are no jobs here for young aspiring black men. And you could almost say, discouraged Vivian Durham. And yet Durham did leave, go to England, and met with Mr. Garvey there. And I'm absorbing all of this while we're trying to get out the newspaper. And I thought, this man is speaking history, is letting me know, giving me the
First
benefit. But the thing that struck me also is that in the hot weather of Kingston, he wore a three-piece suit
at all times.
Yes.
Like Garvey.
Yes, and I thought, this is amazing. He's not in shirt sleeves or just an ordinary suit. Three-piece suit he was dressed in every day. And even though the cuffs on his shirt may have been so frayed, he was coming out in his three-piece suit. Great man. But this is what he told me about Garvey. He's a great man.
Let us go for a break. When I come back, I want to look into some of the reasons. Straight up. Welcome back to Straight Up. I have to apologize to my callers because with an opportunity like this with Professor Robert Hill here and willing to stay for some time, we have to suspend the calls for a while. But I'll allow you for at least at half hour, maybe a whole hour to interact with him, maybe after 11 or maybe in between. But Bobby, I want to point out to you that it has been a long time ambivalence, especially among the Rastafari brethren, that most Rastafari brethren and sisters are, especially now being much younger than us, are not aware, and those who were aware from the 40s and the 50s and the 60s are very embarrassed about the breakdown of communication that took place between Garvey and Selassie in London, and most Rastafari brethren try to ignore it.
And
Why
you think so?
Because it's embarrassing to them, because Rastafari brethren love Garvey, Rastafari brethren love Selassie, and when they found out about the antipathy of Garvey not getting any reply to his communication when he tried to contact Selassie in London,
1920,
and when Garvey started to write some strident things in his paper about Selassie, it was very embarrassing,
painful
to most Rasta. But me as a youth who grew up seeing my grandfather as a Garveyite and love Selassie, it was no problem to me because I know these kind of conflicts break out. Because you know that in between the Panthers and Stokely and many other groups like this, there's some conflicts that break out that make you pain. Even sometimes your friend them, two of your friend them at odds with one another. And it pain you for years, but you're not going to let go of neither of the two.
And I think, Jerry, that is an absolute truth. We must never disavow any part of ourselves or our history. Even if you are inclined to agree with one or the other, the fact is Mr. Garvey had already fulfilled his work. When he had those unkind things to say about his Imperial Majesty, was 1935, 1936, 1937. He was only but 3 or 4 years away from his own ultimate demise. And so, looking back on it, it seems to me that Rastafari give us an example of how to think contextually, how to contextualize Garvey's signal importance, while still recognizing that in terms of the conflict between himself and Selassie, Garvey must never be disavowed.
No.
And we understand that these conflicts are built into, inevitable,
Yeah.
into political struggle. And the role of the emperor in the life of Jamaica is so phenomenally important that we must and Rastafari embrace both,
Yeah.
and never got sidetracked by any pettiness. And to me, that was, I always say that when Garvey's reputation in Jamaica was at its lowest ebb and middle class Jamaica was just dismissive of Garvey,
Very much so.
and all they had to say was that Garvey thieved people
Yes, and
money.
it was a fraudster, yeah.
Rasta is what preserved Marcus Garvey's significance.
Yeah.
Almost underground. They kept an underground
Yeah.
feeling for Mr. Garvey and his importance alive.
Yeah, but look. John the Baptist was preparing Israel
Yes.
to be freed one day, because there's a promise that a generation is going to be born and a certain youth is going to be born to
Yes.
lead that generation who is going to free Israel. So John the Baptist started preparing people and preaching as a forerunner.
Yes.
When his cousin started to emerge and John the Baptist was waiting for Jesus to start manifest certain great works and him never start manifest it, John the Baptist sent some of his disciples to Jesus and say, are you the one, or look we for another? Must we look for another person?
Yes.
And Jesus sent back to him and said, but tell him what you see. Tell him the work you see me doing. The sick being nourished,
Yes.
the aged protected, and all different things.
Yes.
And these was two first cousins, you know.
Yes.
And we have seen many other conflicts like this. Now, Garvey left Jamaica as a deportee from America and then squeezed out of Jamaica by pressure.
Yes.
But he had the right as a colonial citizen to travel to England.
Absolutely.
Now, he also has the right to agitate in England for
Yes.
his rights that England owes him.
Yes.
But he's expecting, he's in exile from 35, you know.
Yes.
By 1 year time, Haile Selassie is now in England, join him in exile. Both of them. So Garvey is saying, okay, at last now the two of we can join forces and
Yes.
stir up England. But Haile Selassie is a guest of the British government. He
True.
may not go out into the street and stir up anything.
Couldn't.
But
yes.
Garvey, as a colonial citizen, has
Yes.
the right to do so.
Indeed.
So when Garvey tries to contact Selassie and doesn't get any reply, and these contacts most likely are going through the post office, the British government is have the easiest, even if it is going by a courier, they have an opportunity to waylay that courier, maybe buy out that courier and interrupt the communication. Because they don't want these two men to get together. And so after Garvey sends 3 or 4 communications to Rastafari Haile Selassie and doesn't get back in communication, he presumes that this guy don't want to talk to me. Especially when I see him going and having tea in the House of Parliament and hobnobbing with the Prime Minister and so on.
Yes. Yes.
And as a Jamaican, you know, very volatile and thing, we start
Yes.
look out and say, what do you think it is?
Yes.
You pass me in the car with you and turn your head with you.
Yes.
You remember when in the 60s, man, a lot of them look a kind of conflict because if you're not yell up a man properly the next time, so you say, oh, hey, Bobby,
Yes.
you see, man, I know I'm going to get no acknowledgement, you know?
Yes.
Until
yes.
they come over and find out that there was no malevolence. Them
Yes.
say, all right, everything cool, Bobby, man.
Everything
Forgot
cool.
that.
Yes. Yes. Well, Garvey had a disagreement with Selassie, but it wasn't just Garvey alone. Garvey went as part of a delegation to Victoria Station in London
Or to meet him.
to meet him, and in the delegation was George Padmore,
yeah.
Ras McConan,
From Guyana.
yes, and other people.
Black militants, yeah.
Yes, and there was a little girl who had a bouquet of flowers
To present.
to present to the emperor. And when the emperor's coach pulled into Victoria Station, naturally in the coach he was surrounded by officials of the British Foreign Office
Yeah.
and, high officials.
Yeah.
it's like Selassie was penned up in his carriage,
Yes.
and all of the delegates wanted to go on board into the carriage
Yes.
to meet and talk with him.
Yeah, but
And the message came out, no, only one person will be admitted with the little girl to present him with the bouquet of flowers.
yeah.
And T. Ras McConan, his real name was Griffith,
Yes.
and he went into the carriage as T. Griffith, and he came out as T. Ras McConan.
Okay.
In that space of time in the carriage,
Yes.
his head and his spirit got transformed
Yes, yes.
by the meeting with the emperor.
Yes, and this is McConan is Selassie's own family name.
That's correct. And he come out of the carriage calling himself T. Ras McConan. But Mr. Garvey felt that they had been snubbed by the emperor,
Yes.
who refused, according to Garvey, to allow them to greet and to meet him.
Yes.
But Mr. Garvey had differences of opinion. He felt that the emperor was too dependent upon white advisors
Yes.
and white patrons.
Yes.
At the same time, also, Garvey felt that strategically the emperor should have stayed in Ethiopia
Yes.
to fight at the head of his, partisan
Forces, yeah,
troops.
yeah.
But in the larger context,
Real world.
yes, Selassie had to leave Ethiopia to go and rally
Yeah.
world forces outside of Ethiopia.
Yes, and more modern support
Yes.
and armaments.
And to go to the League of
League of
Nations
Nations,
and make that famous speech.
Yes, yes.
But Garvey felt that Selassie had abandoned.
Yeah, not only that, at the same time, conceiving that Selassie had abandoned his people in Ethiopia.
Yes,
Also saying he's praying too much and depending on God too much.
yes.
And
Well,
prayer.
Garvey said in writing about his differences that Emperor Haile Selassie was too caught up in the Solomonic
Yes.
myth and
Of descendants.
of descendants.
And as a perceived white man, because Garvey perceived Solomon as being a white man.
I see. Well, Garvey didn't feel that the whole dynastic Solomonic reasoning was at all relevant, and he felt it just was a distraction.
Yeah, because him said that Sheba, he is proud of Sheba. Him identify
Yes.
with Sheba as African.
Yes.
But him now identify with no Solomon.
Yes. In that sense, Marcus Garvey was a extraordinarily unsentimental person. He
Pragmatic.
Yes, exactly. Very pragmatic. And we should also recognize that he didn't feel any need to embrace the Solomon and Sheba story of the origin of the Ethiopian dynasty.
Yeah.
But, in those days, Mr. Garvey was on the decline, and he was precipitous
Yeah.
in calling out the emperor. And many of Mr. Garvey's worldwide followers told him that he was wrong,
Yeah.
wrote him letters,
Yeah.
and said, you are wrong to criticize the emperor.
Yeah.
Because at this moment, the emperor was
The
on
center.
the ascendant.
Exactly.
Ascendant.
But the same thing was said in the Bible. The rising up of Christ is the going down of John.
Ah,
You remember those things?
Yes.
And these
yes.
things happen in history over and over.
Over.
We have to go for a break. This is
All
most
right.
interesting. Straight
Yes.
up. Let's go for the 10 AM headline news. Straight up. Welcome back to Straight Up. We're having a different program here today because we have the pleasure and the most opportune visit of Professor Robert Hill here with us, and he's able to stay for almost the entire program because from 9:30 we've been talking to him. And I'm sure that you'll appreciate the fact that the phone calls will have to be limited because it's once in a blue moon that we get this situation. Now, Bobby, as a result of of Garvey going public with his disagreement with Selassie's strategies, tactics, and demeanor, starting with the Victoria Station thing and going
Yes.
through. Now, Mrs. Garvey told me, just in the time when yourself and Rupert Lewis were getting
Yes.
associated with her, when she was living at 12 Mona Road,
Yes.
Mrs. Garvey told me personally, and I read it in her book, Garvey and Garveyism first,
Yes.
that Rastafari used to send delegations to the UNIA conventions in New York very quietly, and that from early had offered lands in Ethiopia and had sent even donations to the conventions. It was only after they ran, she told me herself that it was only after they ran into trouble with the Liberia situation and Firestone and so on, that Garvey and made it known to the membership that Tafari had made these overtures.
I'm not sure about that. In 1922, in the August 1922 convention, the Persian consul general who represented Ethiopia in New York, yes, he came to the convention and read a statement saying that the government of Ethiopia would welcome members, African Americans, coming to Ethiopia to contribute their skills to the development of Ethiopia.
Yeah.
But as for secret support, unbeknownst to members from Haile Selassie,
This is before him crowning, that's why I said Tafari.
I know. I would be a little dubious about that. I don't see anything at the time in Haile Selassie's demeanor from, say, 1920 up through the late 20s that would suggest anything that would have been a motivating factor for him doing that. I don't see it.
But the Persian diplomatic overture here definitely came from Ethiopia.
Well, he was speaking in his capacity as the honorary consul general of Ethiopia.
All right, okay now. Hear this now. Adam Clayton Powell's father established the Abyssinian Baptist Church.
Correct.
You understand why he named it Abyssinian?
Well, yes, because Abyssinia was a sacred name for the black world.
Did you know that Ras Makonnen and Menelik had been sending Ethiopian priests to New York, and that Adam Clayton Powell Sr. met some of them? And that is
I didn't know that.
And this is one of the reasons why he chose the name Abyssinian Baptist Church.
That's interesting.
That's a fact.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that.
And I think if you check it out, you'll be able to find a corroboration.
So a meeting between Adam Clayton Powell
father,
Sr.
and Selassie's father's delegation.
Yes.
In all, some of they more than one time people were sent from Ethiopia. Sometime Makonnen on his own, and sometime in association with Menelik.
Yes.
At least 3 times. But this is our Abyssinia Baptist Church and Adam Clayton Powell.
I see.
Now, after Garvey came public with his non-endorsement of Selassie in London, Selassie found it necessary, because the UNIA was always supportive of all African liberation.
Correct.
And of Ethiopia. Selassie, now it was as a result of that why Selassie established the Ethiopian World Federation.
Yes, in 1936.
Not being able, 37.
37,
Not being able to rely on the UNIA again because of this public spot.
Well, the UNIA was in the vanguard of the Solidarity movement in support of Ethiopia fighting for its survival against Mussolini. No question that the UNIA, it was the logical conclusion, you might say, and validation of all of their preaching, all of their philosophy to support an independent, sovereign Ethiopia. So when Mr. Garvey came down hard on the emperor, his own members rebuked him and wrote to him. I have those letters. Yes, and said, "No, you're wrong. How could you say these unkind things, and you should retract them." And even one lady member of the UNIA wrote him and called him an apostate, because she felt that his denunciation of Selassie was a form of apostasy.
Yeah.
Yes, man.
Gone too far.
Yes, yes, yes.
So as I say, as a result of that, Tafari Selassie established with the aid of his cousin who he had sent to America
Yes.
to study, I think it was dentistry.
At Howard University. Yeah, Malaku Bayan.
And he also married a black American.
A black American.
You sent him back now into the West now
Yes.
to spread the Ethiopian World Federation.
Yes.
And it was as a result of that when Ethiopia was liberated in 41.
Yes.
In the early 40s coming up to 48.
Yes.
It was through the Ethiopian World Federation that Selassie symbolically gave land to the Federation and, and invited all of the African. And there were many other movements in London and other places, Ethiopian peace movement and all kind of things.
Yeah, there were several.
That used to gather support for Ethiopia. Some of them were run by some charlatans who used to pocket the money.
Oh, yes, yes. Inevitably, they were exploiting the sympathy and the appeal of Ethiopia by exploiting people's generosity.
Yes.
But there had never been anything on the scale of the support that poured forward to support Ethiopia against the Italians.
Yes.
But I've been doing some digging around, and I'm not so sure about the land grant. I think that was also, to me, it bordered on fraud. The Ethiopian World Federation in New York manipulated words to try to convey that Selassie had actually made a concession of land for black people in the West. I'm not so sure now.
Now, how did the Pipers reach there from in the 40s?
Yeah, the Pipers came from the island of Montserrat.
Yeah.
And they had gone to America and had done well and migrated like many
others.
Several African-American, Afro-Caribbean families migrated to Ethiopia after the liberation.
Yeah.
They had been going there since the 30s,
Yeah,
you know, the
even,
early 30s.
even Herbert Julian,
Yes.
the Black Eagle.
Yes. But Rabbi Arnold J. Ford,
yes.
who was the musical director of the UNIA and the author of the Universal Ethiopian Anthem, the composer of it, he had gone with 5 others who were part of his temple in the early I think it was 1931.
Just after the coronation, yeah.
Yes, and his wife, she started a school in Addis, and she was a renowned teacher, and many Ethiopian children went to her school. I saw her when I went to Ethiopia in 92 for the 100th anniversary celebration.
Yeah.
She was still very strong and walking on the street. But in terms of the story of Selassie making a gift of land, I think that what really happened is that land was given to Mr. Piper. Mr. Piper was a black Jew and also the secretary of the chapter or the branch of the Federation in Addis. The Federation then jumped on the land given to Mr. Piper and claimed that it was land given by the emperor to black people in the West. I have my doubts about this. It was something that was really manipulated in order to boost the following of the Federation and also as a fundraising mechanism to draw funds.
Yeah, well, it has happened more than one time, and that's why you had more than one headquarters, more than one branch of the Federation in New York claiming to be the headquarters, rival headquarters.
Yes.
A similar thing is going on even amongst the UNIA now. And some of the UNIA officials in certain countries are discredited by the so-called headquarters, and some of
denounced by the headquarters.
And you know the leadership, just like how the leadership of the Federation.
Yes.
the people who assume leadership of the Federation usually act as if they are leader for life and not subject to re-election and review. So it is with the UNIA. Most people who take control of a branch act as if they are owners of it for life.
I see.
For life. So the Constitution says that there must be election every year in the Federation, in the UNIA. But usually these people take control of these things for life. And once they are in, they cannot be removed.
They feel entitled to it.
Entitled.
I see.
Now, in New York, in 1968, in 1967,
yes,
in a magazine named The African Opinion,
yes,
there came out an article when Haile Selassie had visited, I think it's Washington in that year or sometime there, of a man named Reverend Evans.
Yes.
Meeting Haile Selassie and His Majesty, indicating to him that if he put himself in order, there was more land available in Ethiopia in a province named Bale. Some of our brethren in Jamaica heard about it and read it in That African Opinion, got in touch with this man named Reverend Evans.
Yeah, in Chicago.
Yes, and he issued a charter to them, which came to Jamaica in 1968 and started Ethiopian World Federation Charter 15, which later metamorphed into the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, when people like yourself, myself, God, White, and other people were trying to carry were making publication. We started out with the Black Man Speaks.
Yes.
The end of 67.
Yes.
And you were coming and going. By 69, after Rodney was banned, many of us, a broad front of us, came together and started
a
bang.
Yes.
Now you will notice that down into the latter part of 69,
yes,
many of us now became absorbed into this Ethiopian World Federation Charter 15.
Local
at
15.
At a time when the Abeng was floundering. At the same time, the trip of Michael Manley to 5 African countries, including Ethiopia, just after his father died in September 69.
Yes.
And when Michael Manley returned to Jamaica, he himself didn't say it, some of his lieutenants took the rod at the airport at Mobile in land and hold it up to the people and said, this rod is Michael rod that him got from Selassie.
I see.
No, he did not get any such rod from Selassie. It was Jomo Kenyatta who gave him an ebony and ivory rod.
I see.
And after Michael Manley rebranding himself as a black militant, you remember that?
Yes.
One of the things that made 1968 so explosive in Jamaica, was the fact that the young militant people in Jamaica and some of the broad masses were turned off both the JLP independence government and the PNP.
Correct.
Isn't this the climate in which the Abeng rose up?
Oh, indeed.
Because in the first issue of Abeng
was
describing PNP and JLP as black dog for monkey.
Black dog for monkey, I remember.
So just like now, most of the voting population and the young people were turned off both the JLP and the PNP. But Michael Manley, after Norman Manley decided to give up the reins, Michael Manley rebranded himself now as a black militant by taking this trip to Africa.
Yes, but it's not him alone. Shearer also went to Ethiopia.
Yes, Shearer left here before him.
Yes.
But went to Rome first. So when he was in Rome, Michael fly past him and reached Ethiopia before him.
I see. But both of them were trying to, in a sense, rebrand themselves as Ethiopian in spirit.
Yes.
And Michael is the one, though, who really had the propaganda most effectively.
But as I was saying, just as a lot of us diverted our main activity into the Ethiopian World Federation Charter 15, out of the Abeng people.
Yes.
So it is most of the leftists and the militants and the black militants were co-opted by Michael Manley between 69 and 72.
All of the militants from Abeng went over. D.K. Duncan, Scree Bertram,
Paul Miller,
and Norman Garvey. Trevor Monroe came out of the Abeng. Several of the leaders, Rupert Lewis of the Workers' Party of Jamaica. But so it is. But I would be very fascinated to hear your story about the early years of Local 15 and the rise of Prophet God.
Well,
Because he was the
yeah.
leader of Local 15.
Yes, now, here it go now. The brethren who found out about Evans
Yes.
is a brother named Brother Douglas.
Yes.
And him along with another brother named Brother Chambers, him sell the newspaper in front of the American Embassy. Brother Chambers, Brother Dan Chambers. Those two were in a branch of, an old-time branch of the Federation named Local 7, which was headed by Mr. Downer.
Downer.
Now, once these people got control of a local, they held on it for life. So Downer acted like he owned Local 7.
I see.
Just like our planner almost owned Local 37.
Yes.
And all of the people, Local 31 was owned by Brother Brown at North Street. They don't entertain any election or any choice once they become president.
Yes.
So 3 young men was in Local 7.
Yes.
Who wasn't comfortable with this ownership of Local 7 by Brother Downer. These 3 young men was Brother Douglas, Brother Chambers, and Brother Carrington with Brother Gad. So when they heard of this new land grant and this Evans having a new headquarters, they were so glad to make a new start. They sent to him for a charter.
I see. So their charter came from Chicago.
And it was dated 25th of February 1968. So the Charter 15 celebrates the 25th of February 1968 as their foundation date.
I see.
Now, Brother Gad had certain spiritual awakening and religious awakening which made Ethiopia and the Bible even more significant to him.
Yes.
So he was very influential among those 3.
Yes.
But the person who really sent for the charter was Brother Douglas. So Brother Gad started sharing his understanding of the Bible and identification of Ethiopia and the Christian movement with the 12 tribes of Israel.
Yes.
And the 12 apostles and the 12 sons of Jacob. So there are brothers went along with that. But now when you get a charter of the Federation, if you cannot establish a quorum of 25 within 3 years, it becomes defunct.
I see. You lose it.
Yes, because you must show your organizing ability.
Yes.
Now a year and a half after they got the charter, they still didn't have as many as 15 members. So they used to go around and try to attract people into this new federation to build up the membership.
Yes.
And 2 brothers, Brother Ricketts, who I knew from way back, another brother named Brother Binane, a young man, used to tell those brothers in Trenchtown in Local 15, so them know some youth up at Augustown who love the federation, but who refuse to join any, because all who have the federation charter go on like it's them personal property. So it's we them was talking about, because we used to check out all of the federation charter, but all of them was run like people personal property.
Yes.
So these 2 brothers, Ricketts and Benin, told Brother Gad, Brother Douglas, and Brother Chambers, say, let us go and visit these youths up here.
See.
Some of them are in the university, some of them live in Augustown, but I think they will come into this. So I think it was the 2nd of August 1969, a year and a half after they started operating, they came up here and visit us one day. But Brother Gad told his people that he's going to go into Bedward Yard. Once he comes to Augustown, he's going to take the opportunity to visit Bedward Yard, because Bedward was also an enlightened man and who also had 12 executives, 12 male and 12 female, and therefore Bedward was aware of this 12 connection and Bible connection with the black people struggle.
Yes.
So when we got this message over at Student Union one day, say a whole heap of Rasta people down in Augustown I look for you. When we walk down Augustown, is in a bed where we go buck them up.
Okay.
And we say invited them up to the union, and they came up to the union, almost about 10 or 11 of them. Came up to the union and we sat down at a good reasoning. And they said they get a new charter. So we decided to go and visit this charter and check it out, because we always go and visit all charter and check them out. But we always find that them is being owned by a personal individual.
Yeah.
When we check out this charter, we found that it being new now, we say we are going to take a chance with it, because it is new and it don't establish those bad ways yet.
Yes. And
so we started to go into the Federation August 1969. Myself, a brother named Little D, and a brother named Brother Becky, who died last year, was the first 3 to go in. Later on, Peter Phillips came in, Garth White and some more. Some never stayed, like Peter Phillips and Garth White and Minnie. They stayed a few years, but they never stayed long because they did not like the same autocracy emerge in Charter 15. The same old-time autocracy and one-man rule emerged in Charter 15. So some of the brethren went away. Some of us stayed there. But it was us, little group of youth from Augustown, Tavern to Gardentown, who carried in the most members in there over the next
and 30
over the next
and inspired it to expand.
Yes. But in 1973, Brother Gad advised the membership, let us abandon the federation because Evans is not authentic.
Yes, they found him out to be a fraud.
Yes, so the membership abandoned the federation and went exclusively under the name 12 Tribe of Israel from September 1973.
I see.
But some of us in there was insisting that we must have a constitution. You cannot have a modern organization and it is run by a personality's whims and fancies.
Yes.
So we objected to this one-man rule business because Haile Selassie himself had established a constitution in Ethiopia when he didn't have to.
Yes.
Haile Selassie himself had established Ethiopian World Federation and given it a constitution.
Yes.
So the pattern was there. Haile Selassie helped to establish the Organization of African Unity in 63.
Correct.
And give it a constitution. So why are we running something now like a personality cult?
Yes.
So a lot of us stayed there for some years and objected to that. But it devolved into a personality cult.
Yes.
Around Brother Gad. And this cannot work.
Yes.
But let people go and believe it's a personality cult can work.
Yes. Thank you for that reasoning, brother.
Let's go for a break.
I didn't know that history. But in the same way...
Hold on, wait for a break. Yeah, welcome back to Straight Up. Bobby Hill here with me. Now, we just touch on that time when they are bang on the experience of running a print, running a newspaper and a motivational organ. We were experimenting with. Some of us were young. Some of you guys was like 5 or 10 years older. You had older guys, more experienced guys like G. Beck and so on.
G. Beck, yes.
But we still failed to form institutions like the ferment that took place between 37, 38, 39 in Jamaica. People forming trade union, people forming political party. Garvey started kick it off in 29 with his party. But in the early 60s, in the late 60s, early 70s, our failure to form institution further than the newspaper, Michael Manley and so on was able to co-opt most of those by them energy there.
Yeah.
But we dare not give up. But what is your latest project now?
My latest project is still Garvey. After all these years, I'm still trotting. We're up to now volume 14 of the Marcus Garvey and UNIA papers, and 2 more volumes after that, and we will complete that mission. I'm also investigating revival, the history of the religion of revival in Jamaica, finding it very, very interesting. It's a fascinating process of people expressing their own spiritual vision. And I'm sorry it took me so long and it came so late in my life. But still, I'm working on what an old Garveyite told me, that Mr. Garvey, his power came from the fallen angel. And when I heard that, I didn't know what he was talking about, couldn't understand it, and what would the fallen angel have to do with Mr. Garvey? But eventually I found out that the fallen angel is not a negative, bad source of power, just like many saints in the Christian religion and icons in the Christian religion. The fallen angel is a very powerful figure in revival, and you must have heard of 60 revival and 61.
61, yeah, 1861,
yes. Well, the fallen angel is more in the tradition of Mile and 61 revival. Anyway, the fact that this old gentleman told me that the people used to say that when Garvey spoke, you never saw him read from any piece of paper,
Yes.
never carried no notes.
Yes.
He just threw his head back and words just flowed.
Yes, yes.
And they said, well, the fallen angel was sitting on his shoulder and speaking the words into his ear.
Yeah.
And it's just that way that he was able to be so eloquent.
Yes.
Well, the more I looked into this, the more I discovered that it is revival that really ties all of these things together at the grassroots.
Yeah.
And that in fact, Rasta is a modern version of the spiritual trod coming down from...
When you read the promise key, you can see
Yes.
the clear derivative of that.
Yes,
A part of Rasta.
yes. So what I have been working on is trying to trace out the way in which revival came into Garveyism and was able to reconnect it in a whole new way. I'm also working on some work on the land grant in Ethiopia, looking at that very critically and realizing that just as that man, Reverend Evans,
Yeah.
was found out to be a fraud, in fact, Evans was doing exactly what the Ethiopian World Federation...
Lennox Avenue and
Yes.
and the other, I forgot what the other one in New York name. Lennox Avenue and another.
Well, George Bryan, who was
Yes,
the
yes, yes,
international
yes, yes.
president,
Yes, yes.
and who claimed in 1950
Yeah.
that the emperor had given this land grant. Yeah, there was no such land grant.
But Mamie,
It was
you know of Mamie Richardson?
Mamie Richardson, and she came to Jamaica in 55.
55 after the coronation
Yes.
jubilee.
And she told people that she had met the emperor in New York in 1954 and had an interview with him, and he told her that there was land in Ethiopia for black people in the West. Except she met the emperor in May of 1954. She came to Jamaica in September, October of 1955. And between May of 1954 and September, October, she had never spoken a word about no land in Ethiopia. But you see, that vision and that desire to live on free Ethiopian land, meaning
milk and honey,
embodying freedom,
yeah,
was the face card that the Federation used every time
No, hear
from
me now.
50 coming down.
Let me mention this. If you want, you will find a lot of the connection and explanation about the connection with revival when you examine the Claudius Henry movement.
Ah,
And also Claudius Henry passed through the Federation, you know.
yes.
And a lot of his inspiration for combining churchical thing with Africa is
Yes.
coming through the Federation.
I see.
And at certain points, I believe he claimed to have been at the Jubilee, the Silver Jubilee of Haile Selassie's coronation in 1955 in Ethiopia, but I don't think it has ever been corroborated that he actually went there.
He went in
He
59.
went 59?
Yes.
But not 55?
No, not 55.
But he went to
in
Ethiopia in 59? Okay.
That lady Fisher,
Yeah, that's his
who
wife.
was involved
Them wife.
with the Federation. Yeah, they got
Them wife,
married.
yeah, yes.
Yes, Edna Fisher.
Yeah, Edna, Miss
She was a very good businesswoman.
Yeah, man,
She had
sell fish and
a fish
shop
business. And
a bakery.
yes, and she's the person who invited Reverend Claudius Henry to join her group, and she gave him the money to go to Ethiopia
So
in
she
59.
didn't go? She didn't
No,
go?
she didn't go.
Yeah.
But they became, very close, and his reasoning was Very, very powerful reasoning. In fact, I'm writing a history right now of Reverend Claudius Henry and the son Reynold.
Yeah.
And your brother Hugh,
Yeah.
I did an interview with him and he gave me some very interesting insights into that time in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Because it shook Jamaica, you know.
Yeah, man, very much so. Because not only that, in 1960,
Yes.
when they held him and held his son and thing,
Yes.
Hugh and Richard, them was 19 and 17 years old, and the old man was taking them to London, to enter law school.
Yes.
And the old man was, when he was leaving in July, it was about the 1st of July, 60.
Yes.
Him say he was so glad that he must be out of Jamaica for 5 or 6 months because him don't want to try the Henry case.
Oh, really? Your father said that?
Yeah, I remember him saying that before him leave.
Yes.
But when him land back at Jamaica, him came back to Jamaica there in a 60.
Yes.
But by the next 2.5 years, is a Coral Garden case dropped in him lap, him couldn't avoid that.
Dropped straight into his lap. Yes. He tried that case.
Yeah, the government was trying to use, and they did manage to use that case to greatly increase the punishment and fine and imprisonment for ganja.
Yes.
Because their position was that is ganja make the man them go wild and chop up people down in a Coral Garden.
Incredible.
My old man was opposed to the concept that ganja make people mad.
Absolutely.
And he went against that.
Uh-huh.
Matter of fact is after His Majesty came to Jamaica in 1966, I hadn't seen my old man for some months because I did leave my people yard from 64.
Uh-huh.
When I go look for my old man down about in the middle of 66, I am Chambers.
Yes.
He must say to me, say, he must kind of rough me up, you know, although I'm not on them jurisdiction.
Yes.
And I tell me, say, you think it's you want to know about ganja? You think it's you want, you know?
Uh-huh.
And he was there talking in parable, making me know, say, when I'm a youth, him did have experience smoking herb and them things. It's not you alone going like you go through a great revelation and all them things.
I see.
And he was also introduced to the emperor.
Okay.
And the emperor invited him to visit Ethiopia.
Oh,
and
yes.
say one of him great regrets is that him never did take up that invitation.
Yes.
But as you were saying, Claudius Henry.
Yes.
And not only that, his son was some militant who had passed through the Korean War. They was veterans of the Korean War.
Correct.
And that gave them the military capability, which made them think of Jamaica being a possible Sarah in Cuba, a possible Cuban revolution.
Yes, you're coming to the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
See, Reynold had served in the U.S. Air Force.
Yes.
And although he was not in the Korean War,
But,
he knew other brethren
veterans,
in Harlem who were veterans of different branches of the U.S. Armed Forces.
Yes.
But in there, they had suffered immense prejudice and discrimination. And so when they came back into civilian life, they met up in Harlem with Malcolm X.
Yes.
And that whole radicalization.
The other thing named the African Revolutionary ARC, what it was again? Them had a little organization named the African Revolutionary Council or something like that, you know, which them was part of.
Well, several African conscious groups were springing up in Harlem in the late 50s.
Yes.
And Reynold was very much part of that.
Yeah.
And he would recruit people on the street and invite them to come back to his apartment where they had like a clubhouse. They actually had a rifle club.
Yes.
And so they would go out to the rifle ranges.
They were definitely looking ahead.
Oh, yes.
Let's go for a break. Straight up.
Okay.
Welcome back to Straight Up. I'm your host, Jerry Small. We have Bobby here. And he was just talking about the ferment of militant activity. Just at the same time, just after Ghana gets independence on the Nkrumah in 57, and the whole African thing is building up. Matter of fact, 1960 was called the year of African liberation, because I think many countries got independence at that time. And you had other guys in Harlem and them places like Charles Kenyatta.
Yes.
And a whole part of that militant activity was going on.
Yes, Kenyatta was actually a member of Reynold Henry's group, the Free Africa Corps. But there's been a a misunderstanding about what Reynold Henry was planning to do. Would you believe that his real plan that he was trying to put into operation was to come here to Jamaica and build a trained army.
Recruit army, for African liberation.
Yes, from the following of his father's church.
Yeah.
And they had plans to hire a boat, a ship,
Yes.
to take them to Africa.
Yes, yes.
And their plan was to go to Angola
Yes.
and there fight the Portuguese,
Yes.
capture Angola,
Yeah.
and then open a way,
A beachhead.
a beachhead, and go
Into the
south
Yes.
and head to South Africa.
Yes, yes.
They were really
Way ahead of
serious
them time, yes.
about liberating Africa.
Yes, yes.
But when he came here, man, he fell into a dispute with the guy who was in charge of the camp up in Red Hills.
Up in Red Hills, yeah.
Yeah, Tonda.
Yeah.
Tonda.
Yeah.
And Tonda was appointed, was his father's right-hand man.
Yeah.
And he decided to take down Thunder like 2.5, 3 days after he had arrived back in Jamaica.
Yeah.
But his strategic plan was to go to Africa.
A liberation thing.
A liberation thing he was dealing
Was it
with.
Thunder would turn out to be a police informant?
That is the
That's the
word
story.
that Henry's people have. I have looked very, very hard.
Maybe
and
this was a pretext to execute him.
Yes, you see, Thunder had a major difference of opinion about whether to stay in Jamaica and fight here.
You remember the same
or
debate?
go.
You remember the
Yes.
same debate used to go on in Jamaica?
Yes.
And do you remember that at the 1968 Black Writers Conference,
In Montreal.
one of the main debates was about whether to liberate the black people self in the Western Hemisphere,
Yes.
or whether to gather as a economic and
Yes.
military army and head
Yes.
back to Africa. I
Yes.
remember saying Carmichael
Was-
and the
yes.
Panthers was on two different sides.
Two-
of it. The
two
same,
different
the
sides.
same argument.
Yes.
Whether
yes.
to stay here
Yes.
and claim rights,
Yes.
or whether to head to Africa.
Yes. But, you know, when Henry came, that is Reynold, came back to Jamaica,
Yeah.
Reynold was told by Thunder that the man who was standing in his way was Gabidan.
Mm-hmm. Gabidan, yes.
And so Henry was getting ready to execute Gabidan.
Yes.
And Gabidan said, wait, you must listen to me, what I have to tell you.
Yes.
And it's Gabidan who spilled the beans on Thunder.
Thunder.
And Henry then shifted and changed and realized that the real spoiler was Thunder.
Yes.
And so it is Thunder and four other men in the camp
Yeah.
that were allied with Thunder.
Yes.
They were lined up on the drilling field.
Yes.
And
Where them used to practice military.
yes, their
training.
their maneuvers and their training. 5 of them
Yeah.
lined up, and Reynold gave the gun to Gabidan and said, "No, you execute them."
Now this sounds just like Green Bay.
Really?
No, if you find out the history of Green Bay, but I tell you, go on top, man.
Anyway, so in fact, it is that collision in the camp
Yes.
between Reynold and
Yes.
Thunder
Yes.
that completely derailed everything
Yes.
that Reynold had in mind.
Yes.
But their organization in New York was very fascinating. They used to go on Sunday evenings to hear Malcolm X speak
Yes.
at the corner of 125th Street and 7th Avenue.
Yes.
And mingling in the crowd, they would meet other young men, and particularly if they had an army or a military background,
Yes.
they would invite them to come up to the
Yes,
Bronx,
yes,
which
yes.
was where Henry lived.
Africa Corps.
At an apartment up in
And
the Bronx.
when Mortimer Plano and Dougie Mack and them people went through New York, they made links with those same set of people, you know.
Did they?
Yes.
I see.
Both on the first visit
Yes.
and the second visit.
Yeah. Gladstone Robinson.
Gladstone Robbie.
Yes. Did you know that?
The pharmacist. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Well, he eventually went to Shashamane.
Yes.
But I'm just trying to, because I got to know quite by accident the people at Green Bottom,
Yes.
the remaining members of the international peacemakers.
So you know Mandela, the young man.
Yes, Thompson, Nelson,
Yeah, Mandela.
Mandela.
Yeah.
And
And his mother and father.
yes, Brother Kitty and Sister B. In fact, we're going to be visiting them on Sunday.
Good.
I've gotten to know that whole community, and they've received us very warmly, myself and my wife Diane, and we have made some wonderful friends there at Green Bottom.
Yeah.
Mandela is a very good, sound youth.
I tell you, you rarely find young men of his age that are so focused, and I commend him.
Yes, absolutely. Fine young man. But at any rate, also as I mentioned, I was a youth and I went to the Supreme Court to those two trials.
Yeah.
And I used to look at Reverend Henry in the witness box, because they had them in, the witness box, and that man,
prisoner's dock.
yes, in the dock.
Yeah.
And Evans, the white lawyer.
Peter Evans. Irish lawyer.
Yes.
Very feisty.
Yes. Oh, he was a very feisty man. And didn't like him at all. And true, he tried to, represent them. He also suffered greatly.
Yeah.
Because they claimed that he had fabricated evidence. And they tried him, and he got a prison sentence out of it. But because it's also part of my history, and also I felt that we've never really accounted justly for Reverend Henry's success. Henry's following came from Veer.
Yes.
Most of his followers were cane cutters.
Yeah.
From the plains of Veer.
Yeah.
And it's like you had, during the cutting season, thousands of landless workers in the plains of Veer, and he used to truck them to Kingston, to
Rosalie Avenue of the Walton Park.
Yes. And it was, I felt, the misrepresentation contained in the university report on the Rastafari movement in Kingston that motivated me to go back and re-examine the story of the Henrys and that moment of the Back to Africa movement.
Yeah.
And that's how I really got drawn back into it.
Yes, and the role that M.G. Smith played, and you have demonstrated it.
Yes.
In advising the government of the Norman Manley government how to handle that situation, and later on advising the Michael Manley government how to handle the Green Bay situation.
Yes.
It sheds a lot of light on how academia, or certain people from academia, have been used from time to time in an intelligence role, and a political role.
Correct.
Proactive.
Yes.
And sowing seeds.
Yes.
That is played out later.
Yes.
Politically and security wise and militarily, and if you don't look behind the scenes,
yes,
you get a completely different picture.
Well, thanks to you, Brother Jerry, were the one who maintained a skepticism about M.G. Smith's connections with British intelligence.
From in the World War.
Yes.
Because he was trained and trusted from them time.
Yes.
And I think he carried out the roles even in West Africa.
In Nigeria, northern Nigeria.
Yes, and Morris Cargill was another person who
Yes.
Like his good friend Ian Fleming. They had
Yes.
British intelligence background.
Yes, I see.
And they weaved in
I see.
fiction with fact and
Yes.
it's very interesting.
Yes. Well, I find that my contribution is to really, recover the history as best as I can and just say to people, look, this is what I found.
Yeah.
And if it can contribute to enlightening and clarifying what really happened, both in the case of Mr. Garvey and in the latter-day movement of Rasta, then I feel I would have served some purpose. And it is very satisfying to join in that conversation. And so I just continue to probe and look into, investigate these things, and feel that in the case of Reverend Claudius Henry, he got a bum rap.
Yeah.
He got a bum rap.
And I have to remind, I think I told you already, 1967 I was working at Barclays Bank. I was 19 years old, and I got the news that Claudius Henry had come out of prison. And he was keeping a meeting at race course, and I went there. There was more than 15 people there. And he said in the meeting, he has just come out of prison, and as soon as he came out of prison, some individuals came to him and presented him with 2 rifles and some handgun.
Really?
And he said he's not going to get trapped in this, and he took these guns straight to Central Police Station and handed them over to the police. And him says he's not going that route. Him says Norman Manley execute his only begotten son and put him in prison. And he said he is going to, I heard him in 1967, September, or thereabouts. He says he is going to use Norman Manley's son and take over Jamaica. I couldn't understand him. And by 1972, he was the one that was used to put forward these placards and pictures of Michael Manley with the rod.
Yes.
And one of the placards had on Selassie, Manley and Henry as the Trinity.
The Trinity.
And the JLP objected to these things as sacrilege. And the church, the Jamaica Council Church said no sacrilege at all is permissible for them to do that. It was so surprising because the Jamaica Council Churches was known as the PNP at prayer. They were so sympathetic to the PNP that people used to call them the PNP at prayer. So they said nothing wrong with these posters, and these posters helped to win Michael Manley election, along with the reggae artists who formed the PNP bandwagon, because he cleverly used music.
Very much.
And I have to give credit to him and him team, Manley and him team.
Yes.
Strategically and tactically beat the JLP street and lane.
Yes. Yes.
Let's go for another break, and when we come back, after 15 minutes, when we come back, we're going to open the phone line. Straight up.
Okay.
Good morning. With the latest headlines, I'm Kayla Wright. The first meeting of the U.S.-Cuba Bilateral Commission will take place today in Havana to define an agenda to be considered following the re-establishment of bilateral relations between the two countries. The Bilateral Commission, whose creation was announced by Cuban Foreign Minister and by U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, will focus on the new areas for cooperation in the benefit of the two countries. The meeting will also deal with bilateral and multilateral issues, including those on which the two countries have different positions, as well as other pending subjects between Havana and Washington. Opposition leaders from the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, will meet in St. Lucia next Wednesday to review the revised Treaty of Basseterre that governs the economic union in the sub-region. A statement from the St. Lucia-based OECS Commission said that opposition politicians will also discuss the OECS growth and development strategy, as well as the accession of Martinique to associate membership. It says it hopes that the meeting will strengthen the capacity of leaders of parliamentary opposition to share vital information on the regional integration movement with their constituents. Footage has emerged of migrants being thrown bags of food at a Hungarian camp near the border with Serbia. According to the Austrian woman who shot the video, the migrants were being treated like animals. Human Rights Watch has said that people were being held like cattle in pens. Hungary says it is investigating the scenes at the camp. And those are the stories making the latest headlines. News next at 12 o'clock. Stay tuned. Straight Up with Jerry Small continues. I'm Kayla Ride.
Welcome back to Straight Up. I'm your host, Jerry Smart. Professor Robert Hill, he has to leave by 11:30. So we're going to talk to him for another 10 minutes. I'm going to allow you about 15 minutes of phone calls. Please, we're going to let through those phone calls which want to communicate with Professor Hill. Now, Bobby, at this juncture in history here now, the African-American people outside, the diaspora of Africa outside Africa, but especially the African-American people, what, I know of the legitimacy, but what do you think of the legitimacy of them organizing themselves, both economically and politically, or must they just merge into the American landscape as a country of minorities? America is a country of minorities now, rather than a white majority.
True.
How must they merge themselves into America, or do they fulfill them redemption?
I think it's both. I think that the African American is the touchstone of American democracy. That has been the force through the struggle for equal rights that has pushed America to confront its own democratic pretensions and professions. At the same time, African Americans are deeply disappointed in the failure of America to fulfill its own professed aims. And so you have the need to both struggle internally for equal rights, but equally the need to achieve self-determination. And if you cannot achieve some form of national self-determination within the borders of the continental United States, you go where you can. And so both arms, both wings of the struggle, I see as interdependent, interpenetrating, and valid. One does not take precedence over the other. However, under the reign of globalization of the world economy, African Americans are being squeezed everywhere, and squeezed particularly in the United States. And a good example of that is what took place in Baltimore. You see the way in which the African American population is dispossessed economically, socially, and at the same time they're not going to surrender and just lay down and roll over. So it's I think America is in for a tremendous struggle that cannot be repressed indefinitely. And the Black Lives Matter movement, I don't know how much information reaches Jamaica. I'm sure there's quite a bit of it that people in Jamaica are familiar with. But that's a tremendous movement.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous, and it's led primarily, the people who founded it were black daughters, black women. And when you hear them speaking on television, they are remarkably articulate and persuasive and unflinching, and they don't have any fear. They don't have any sort of reticence. They speak forthrightly, you know.
Yeah.
It's a very, very impressive group, and they have really stepped forward to press their demands.
What about Jamaica? Jamaica is full of so much promise, and yet we know that we have not built enough institutions to represent ourselves, and therefore it's like most of the population resign themselves to this little two-party
monopoly.
Two-party mediocrity. Yes,
Okay.
monopoly. Yes.
Well, You know, in 1937, people in Jamaica looked around, and many people were despondent, but at the same time, the national awakening was taking place. And once the word, you know, came forward, between 1937 and 1938, a massive movement grew up in Jamaica.
Yes.
For self-government
Yes.
and the rights of labor. And it transformed Jamaica, and we've never looked back. I think that is still latent in our population. And even though it seems like the two parties have co-opted the energy of people, I don't think they control it.
Yeah. You have a call? We welcoming the callers now because we have a few minutes in which Professor Robert will be able to interact with the callers. Yeah. So not only the two-party duopoly, but also both of these parties both of these parties have kind of betrayed the original real nationalism and sense of values that them started with. The JLP didn't have that great amount of sense of values as such. It was a more pragmatic Bustamante, but the PNP certainly was based on nationalism and certain ideals of socialism and so on.
Strong political values.
Yes.
But
go ahead, Bobby.
But you know, I look around, I look at the scene here today. I'm really just coming home to Jamaica after many years living abroad, and reading about it, it seems that the PNP laid a foundation of party structure, constituency groups, political education, a structure on the ground. And that's what they're living off of. Conversely, the GLP, which was a charismatic party behind Bustamante,
based on fierce personality,
never laid any similar equivalent foundation on the ground. And that is what I think the GLP today is really suffering from.
Yes, because under Siaga's leadership, the same thing continued, where you're focusing on Siaga's great charisma or ability, and no structure, no ideology, no political education.
Correct.
We have a call here. Good morning, welcome to Straight Up. Hello.
Good day to you, Jerry, and your guest.
All right, thank you very much.
Professor Hill.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, sir. Very interesting perspective on history and futuristic perspective on the whole issue of Marcus Garvey and
Selassie. Yes.
But Professor Hill, I want to ask you a question. You said, in regards to what you have said earlier on, when Garvey was exiled he will voluntarily exile himself into England.
Yes.
You said at that time his job was finished. Can you please explain?
Yes, well, when he left Jamaica, he was at his very lowest ebb. He had really, you could say, played himself out in Jamaica. He left Jamaica, and he said that he was shaking the dust of this country, of Jamaica, off his feet. And he never ever intended to come back to Jamaica. He made that clear. So what I'm saying is that when he gets to England, he really is very marginal at that moment. And his movement nonetheless rallied to assist the Ethiopian people in defending their sovereignty. And he felt that, you could say, they had deserted him for Haile Selassie, and he resented it.
But what I would say no, his job still continues. Maybe for the man himself, his work was finished.
That's
And
what I meant.
I think he
That's
said that
what I meant.
he'd shake off the dust. I think he said that out of frustration because
Oh, yes.
we are not an easy people, to be honest. We are not an easy people to deal with.
Well, after Garvey lost the 1930 election for the Legislative Council,
Under colonialism,
he wrote a letter to the Gleaner, and in conclusion he said, and this is a direct quote, "Jamaica is a ridiculous country." And I'll never forget reading those words and thinking, my gosh, here is a political leader in Jamaica who basically had given up on Jamaica. And between
interested to say, we the Rastafarian, we don't give up. We are the one carrying on the fight because we must be free.
True.
Spiritually, mentally, economically, industrially, scientifically.
Yes. In that sense, his work is not done. It's just that his leadership. We need now new leaders to emerge from among the people and to now take hold and try to build an independent organization of people in Jamaica.
Yes,
well, thank you for your...
Do you think JLP and PNP has outlived their usefulness? You can comment. I'm going to hang up and listen.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right. Every organization eventually outlives its usefulness. No organization is forever and ever. You rise and you play a part, you play a role, and then new forces, new energies inevitably come to the fore. It's a mistake to think that any organization is for all times.
Come on, thank you very much. Next one. Good morning, welcome. Straight up, hello.
Good morning.
Welcome, sir.
Yes, this is the younger brother, Robert. Last time we really sat down and really grounded was at Cornell. Many decades ago.
Yes.
And then you came by Stony Brook, but I didn't attend that lecture.
I see. How are you, brother?
You know, George's roots and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, great man. And I know there are volumes that you have worked on and so on. One time I read that they were supposed to publish it, or you try getting it published at a library here or retained, and the insurance company refused to sponsor it. But now they have to develop a Marcus Garvey curriculum, and I hope that you could be here on and off.
Yes.
You know, if your fellowship could be extended, your professorship to Jamaica, and so on. We still have a lot of work.
Yes, give thanks. I've been really blessed with some good years of work, and it's still continuing. I'm retired now, but I'm still working to maintain the program of publication of the Marcus Garvey volumes. But do you have a question?
Well, no, I'm just touching base with you still. You know?
All right,
Give
brother.
thanks.
Give thanks. Bless up.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Next one. Good morning. Welcome. Straight up.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, how are you doing, sir?
Morning, Jerry. Morning, Mr. Hill.
Good morning.
A question for you, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Garvey, you mentioned his eloquence.
Yes.
His great eloquence.
Great.
Do you think that him was too eloquent for him own good?
How so?
He had this propensity, from my understanding,
Yes.
to defend himself in court cases.
Yes.
And I remember somebody mentioning to me one time that Ashanine had to voluntarily come to him defense, him aid.
Yes.
Ashanine just happened to be in the courtroom at the time.
That's true.
So do you think it sort of militate, against him own goodwill?
Well, it gave him a tremendous self-confidence. His knowledge of his rhetorical ability, you could say, made him somewhat arrogant and overconfident. But that was his persona. He had an incredible capacity to sway people by the force of his eloquence. And in that sense,
Right,
That
because
is-
there's this thing that the man who defends himself in court
Yes.
is a fool.
I agree.
You agree with that?
In the basic meaning of that phrase, Garvey went into court at times and tried to take over the court. That was, I think, his downfall in his mail fraud trial, this criminal trial in New York in 1923.
Right.
Thank you for your question.
One other short, very, very short question. The Gladstone Robbins you mentioned,
Yes.
would that be, you said he's a pharmacist?
Yes, he studied pharmacology in
Or,
America.
because I know there's a Gladstone Robinson who is a civil servant who happened to be the best batsman out of Spanish Town.
No, it's a black American. Black American.
Oh, that's a different...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Do we have another? Yeah, we encourage people to call. We have about 9 more minutes with Professor Robert Hill. Yeah, it's good. It's good to have had you here. I remember those days when we started getting together when Homer Heron.
Yes.
Homer Heron was at the school before he
St. George's.
went to Excelsior.
Yes.
I had people like Keith Noel. Keith Noel still in Jamaica.
Really?
Trinidad in Jamaica over 50 years now.
Uh-huh.
We had many other people, like some of the ladies, Jackie Vernon, and Lucy Led was a little Barbadian girl who refused to carry Princess Alice's train.
Yes.
She was the secretary of the guild, and she said she's not carrying any train, lifting up in the back on her dress for no. And then Walter came back into the midst of that.
Yes.
I remember meeting up at Dennis Daly Yard with you several days, and with their reason.
Yes. Yes.
And it was good to know that you guys was maybe 5 years and maybe 7 years or maybe 3 years older than most of us younger guys, but you never had any kind of disdainful sit at my feet kind of attitude like that.
No. I remember the issue of a bang that you edited, Jerry, because it was something that the work you did and what you wrote opened up my mind and parted the veil into the world of Jamaican music.
Oh, and Don Drummond died.
Yes, and you wrote something, a tribute to Don Drummond. I can see it now on the front page of a bang.
Yes.
And it was not only eloquent, but you had a feeling for what the music signified. And I am always grateful to you, feel grateful to you for educating me at a profound level. It changed how I thought about Jamaican music.
Well,
at that time, nobody was saying what you wrote.
Yeah.
At least I wasn't aware.
Well, Garthwaite had been writing before, but mostly in academic journals on the campus here. He was the first Rastafari on the campus here.
Yes.
But that thing in a bang, it led to my first entry into radio because Dermot Hussey invited me as a result of that to participate in a tribute to Don Drummond on radio, and that was my first.
I see.
Yeah, it was good.
I see.
Dermot, great guy. Let's get another call. Good morning, welcome. Straight up, hello.
Good morning, Jerry.
Hi, how are you doing, ma'am?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, Dr. Hall.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Please.
Don't you think it's about time the education system start to teach the children, and I don't mean just about Marcus Garvey, but about black history on a whole.
Yes.
To combine the whole of African history into Caribbean.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, the reason is I was born in Jamaica, but I grew up in London.
Uh-huh.
And growing up in London, you are taught lots of history, but the only history that they had taught us was some bit of, was it Venezuela and Australia, and their make out of the indigenous people was that they were cannibals.
Really?
And I knew that it was proper nonsense. My thing was, we had so much on the land to eat. Why would you want to eat people?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I think it's about time these parents wake up, because their children, even some later on in the 60s, when not just at the time with Farrakhan and Malcolm X.
Yes.
There was other movements in London as well.
Yeah, allow me to respond, please.
Yes. I have come to feel that we have to be careful about how we replace one kind of dogmatic approach to history and replace it with another version of dogmatic history. There's a world of knowledge before us that is inviting us to enter, but we must, I believe, enter it in a spirit of curiosity without trying to impose some rigid dogmatic understanding of it. And so when I know you use that phrase black history, that has become kind of, it locks us into a very narrow view of human history. And I just think that to that extent, we should be aware that we could be turning people off because people become very resistant to another
specific.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, but the reason why I said that was we were supposed to be learning world history overseas, but it wasn't about the world because it wasn't including black people in Africa. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Pardon me, man, but we have to move on here because a couple more calls. But thank you. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just before the next call, Bobby, just struck me something that came to me the other day. Don't you have a family connection with the Changs of Chang's Emporium?
No.
No?
No.
I thought so.
No.
But you know that Leonard Howell's land, Pinnacle that they bought, that the Chang it was bought in Chang's name. But I thought that he had a connection there. Let's go to the next call.
No.
Good morning, welcome. Straight up.
Sir, morning.
Welcome.
Morning here.
Yes, sir.
The name of the girl that you said didn't want to lift up the Queen Justice. Can you repeat it for me?
Lucille Edwards.
Lucille Edwards. All right, me like to hear them people name. Lucille Edwards.
Yes, sir. Barbados.
Yeah, a good day to you, Mr. Hill.
Thank you, brother. Good day.
Enjoying the program.
Thanks you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks.
Next one, last one. Morning, welcome. Straight up, hello?
Greetings.
Yes, sir.
Tafari.
Yes, Tekla. This is Tekla McFit.
Another question, really.
You know Tekla?
Yes.
But Bobby, listen, Elaine Thomas.
Yes.
Gifford did a lot of good work with Claudius Henry.
Oh, yes?
And I wouldn't like her papers to go to waste.
Ah.
When her friends deserted her, she used to call and talk to me endlessly during the night about such things. I know the papers exist. I don't know who has them. But perhaps you talk to Tony Gifford, you might get a little hint.
Yes.
I would love you to get hold of those papers and make use of it.
I will definitely pursue that. Thank you, brother.
And a wonderful program, you and Jerry. It was great. Love. Thanks. Very Harry.
One love, man.
One love.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. We have another. Yes, it was good fight. Not only good, that's an understatement. I was glad that you would be able to.
Well, thank you, brother.
Yeah, man.
It's good to see you. Your work, continuing this work.
Yeah, man. And just one last thing. A lot of people tend to say that the youths of today are not as conscious and
yes.
But even in our day, we were a minority, so I don't think that the youth here might be as bereft of any consciousness.
I agree. If the youth are living and breathing, you know for sure that they're taking in the world and they will have something to say about it. I never doubt that fact.
Yes.
Okay, brother.
Well, thank you very much. We still have almost a minute, but enough is a feast. we have a piece of Bob Marley there, and we're going to go for a break. Straight up.
All right.
Let's go.
Okay, well.
Welcome back to Straight Up. I'm your host, Jerry Small, and the text messages have so much things to say also. Get some text message there. Good morning. Can you say happy birthday to Fitzroy Logan in Morant Bay? Coming from his father, Fitzroy in Portland. Okay, happy birthday, Fitzroy Logan. Morant Bay. Next one. Good morning, Mr. Small. I love Wednesday program, especially the interview. Much love to you, Mr. Carter. Garnet, highly high. And outer space. Patrick coming from New York. Thank you very much. I think that is a Rico Rodriguez program. Yeah. Next one. Jerry, is it because of Mr. Siaga why you racist black lovers love every black person except those from West Kingston? This is a kind of idiot text, but I know that you have love in your heart still. Kind of idiot text still. Next one. Morning Bongo, please play Peace Street by Peter Tosh for me. Can't promise it today. Next one. Morning Jerry, I'm requesting that your talk show extend to 2 o'clock instead of 12 p.m. I know that other listeners would agree with me. What do you think, Jerry, coming from Flex and Clarendon? Well, there's a lot that could be done with 2 more hours, but let us make the best of what we have. You understand me? Next one. Good morning, Bongo Jerry. Authentic products are made same place in China for Nike and other name brand products. But you also have a lot of factories in China that manufacture fake products. Yes, you are quite right. Authentic products are made there too. Next one. Jerry, them you must play instead of they have to come back, because it no matter to me if him come or go. Which one you must play? Which one that? Next one. Good morning, Jerry. Why would anyone want to get anyone want to get? I think them kind of write too much words. Good morning, Jerry. Why would anyone want to get polluted with 2 parties? They are all the same, no good. Yeah, but if you have more than 2, you might be able to find some good, because being limited to 2 parties, no competition at all. And that's why some other people who are more politically advanced than us, them have several independents. Next one. Jerry. Hi, Jerry. Please shout out belated anniversary greetings to Hubert and Carol Allen in Boys Content. 23 long years of marriage. Wish for them 23 more from 6 children and all the grandchildren. Thank you, Jerry. Okay, happy birthday greetings. Anniversary greetings to Hubert and Carol Allen in Boys Content. Next one. Jerry, I wish we, like you, could all be singing the praise of the PNP. But just how good they are at winning election, not just how good they are at winning election, but how they good are at managing our affairs. Such a pity. I think you might be confused if you say that I am singing praises of PNP, but time to come. Good morning and welcome to Straight Up. Hello. Next one. Good morning and welcome to Straight Up. Hello. Go ahead.
My time?
Yes, sir, your time.
Oh, give thanks and praise, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, me give thanks for today. I could have never done a better job with the program, trust me.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, man, trust me. You know, so we really have to go put in the institute at Jamaica just for to stand up at one corner, one stand up over this and one stand up at the other, and you just everything the ball about the place.
Oh, yeah, sir. Like to a board, man.
Trust me, man, because we more than an instrument fit for the institute at Jamaica. Trust me, man. It was crazy actually. Brushing gone?
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Alright, you know what I was going to ask Mr. Small?
Yeah.
As you talk about Garvey and His Majesty who are carrying on the banner right here now.
Yeah.
I was looking for a group of people game to call still. I mean, I really hear it call, and it's a group I really admire over some months, you know?
Yeah.
And I really see them have an agenda still. And at the Farrakhan group, you know, the Muslim. What do you think?
Or the Farrakhan, the Islam in America. Yes.
Yeah, man, me see where they heading places, you know.
Yeah, them do a lot of good work, especially rehabilitating people from prison and so on.
Right. Because if you listen to Ashitella speech where he made Hill.Marcus Garvey down at RFM there, you know.
Yeah.
You really see what they're defending, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, man, they're defending them right all over, man.
By the way, I wish happy belated birthday with greetings to Kevin Williams. We never get to talk it yesterday, but he is here now.
I want to remember yesterday or something the birthday, you know, I wanted to remind you from yesterday, you know, but you the reason it gets me out, Kevin.
Now him I say man, I man, Kevin man.
Yeah. Tomorrow is the Ethiopian New Year come to the calendar.
Yeah, I can't tell the leap year, yes. But the banquet stands still.
Yeah, man, we know it stand because
yes, sir.
Still on good already, but maybe they have never thought about it like this still.
Yeah.
So it's just a little education that's added to the list, you know?
Alright, I have to go now, but we wanted to play a piece of music by Mary Isaacs and also by, what the artist name? Give it to me, please, the paper I read a while ago. We're supposed to play a piece of music by Mary Isaacs who will be performing on a 12 drive, and also another brother, but I don't even know if we find it now. We can't find Mary Isaacs music. Aisha asked us to play that, but I don't know where we're going to find that now. Next call, please. Good morning. Welcome to Straight Up. Hello. Good morning and welcome to Straight Up. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, sir. I'm Blossom Marshall, who in housing trust.
Come again. What's about Marshall?
Marshall, who called you last week, can you tell me to call you back, sir?
Oh, what you say you did need, ma'am?
Let me tell you something. From 2088 to 2089, I'm in paying housing just working at critical service, sir.
Yeah.
And after, when we stop work, Mr. Burton tell us that all of us must go and pay our housing trust. I continue paying my housing trust, sir. And all I'm trying to get somewhere to live, I cannot get anywhere, sir. And I wouldn't mind if you could help me if I have one room.
Yes, there was a gentleman, there was a man, I don't know, you wasn't listening to the program. There was a man said that he would like to interview you because I'm thinking of somewhere can place you.
Yes, sir, I would.
But hold on, is you alone?
No, I had 2 children live on the street.
Yeah, I don't think him can accommodate no husband, but him saying they don't want to interview you.
I would glad, sir.
Alright, listen out, you might hear him call again. If you don't hear him for the rest of the day, listen out Monday and see if you hear anything, yeah?
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, welcome. Straight Up, hello.
Hello?
Welcome, sir. How are you doing?
Well, I did a while ago, you want to talk about some history there, you know, but I tried to get on to you, but I couldn't get, you know.
Yeah, man.
When you mentioned Peter Abrams,
yes.
Remember?
Yes.
What about W.B. Frankson?
Oh, the lawyer.
Yes, W.B. Frankson, in the Pen Henry too.
Yes.
And certain organizations, I don't hear you mention, you could mention all of them still, like the Young Socialist League.
Yes, I was going to talk about that, of course, because Bobby Hill was in that.
Bobby Hill was in the Young Socialist League.
Yes, he was.
They used to keep meeting in front of Ambassador Theatre over Play Center School.
Yes.
Your brother was a part of the Young Socialist League.
Yes, them used to keep all over Eloise Park and a Norman Manley office also.
At that time too, you have the Unemployed Workers Council.
Unemployed Workers Council, Chris last name again? Chris Lawrence.
Chris Lawrence.
And also Ben Monroe.
Ben Monroe?
Yes.
All right.
And George Myers.
I know you and you know me a lot of things because at times we were when the Queen come here, we went to demonstrate.
Yes.
Yeah, the Queen demonstration we did in a whole heap of activities.
Yes, sir.
So I remember you there and you know me and all that. Me born and growing at Trenchtown.
Yeah.
On 9th Street.
Your voice sound familiar, man.
Alright, Jerry, you know me.
Thank you very much.
When you say 67,
yeah.
You say you were working at the bank. I think it was about 1960. You were working at Barty's Bank at the corner at King Street and Barry Street.
No, 1960 me at 12.
So, you were working at Barry Street and King Street at that Barty's Bank?
1967, yes.
At 67?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
19.
You used to come over post office like a muscle too?
Yeah, I used to work over at post office. I used to gather over at post office.
You used to over there?
Yes, sir.
Then me know they do over there too?
Yeah, man, that's me know all bully.
Yes.
Me know bully, mister.
You used to over there also?
Yeah, but I used to work over there at 65, that time I was 17.
Oh, alright, cool. Alright, Jerry, cool then.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Next one, please. Good morning. Welcome. Straight Up, hello. Next one, please.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, welcome.
Yeah. Yes, we are taking the program from yesterday to this morning.
Yeah.
But we realize, boy, a lot of historical and traditional wisdom.
Yes.
Yeah, and the panel really did express, you know, so just a big up to that. You know, say, boy, you know, highlight the public because a lot of things the people are really ignorant, you know.
Yes.
And you know, say, boy, you can dig up something and make them know where I'm going.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Yes, sir.
So, I really appreciate that still.
Well, I appreciate you. Yeah, go on.
But really and truly, yesterday, me here, when they did mention something from the Bible in a biblical perspective.
Yeah.
You see me, and that's one of the things why I'm really interested in the program for. Now, when again, you chip over in some Bible thing, you know?
Yes, sir.
A kind of mystery thing, so, you know?
Yes.
That is one of the things I really appreciate.
Well done. Yeah.
When they did mention something about Jehovah and Solomon's son.
Yes.
And Rehoboam.
Yes, Rehoboam. Yes.
I never really pronounce the word, them name them for I kind of struggle to pronounce them names.
Yes, yes.
So when I did that try to explain say Rehoboam did go to the elders them to get some advice.
No, him got to the
them advise him say boy they must if he make the burden from the people them more lesser.
Yeah.
You know, then the people we really, you know.
Yes, yes, but we'll appreciate him. Yes.
And then him go to him bridging them and him bridging
the young man them. The young man them, yeah.
Deal with it opposite.
Yes, yes.
But if you should have really look into verse 15 and 24, you see his part God speaks to the prophets to make him know say boy. He never have nothing to do with that.
Yeah, enough.
Him God,
yes.
power him to do that because
yes.
Solomon, his father did bring out some transgression with some woman.
All right, look here. Call me again when we have more time. Don't wait till so late in the program, here.
All right.
Thank you very much. Let's go. We'll go for a break.
But did call you already, you know.
Yeah, man. We'll go for a break.
Still, you know?
Break.
Yep. All right.
Welcome back to Straight Up. The lady who called and asked for that help for somewhere to live. The person give the phone number. So if you call, we'll give you the number off the air. We don't want to read out the number upon the air because some other lady will go phone him and get the place before you. And we don't want to know how that lady can get your place. So call again and we'll get the number off of the air. But you have to identify yourself now. You have to go hear your voice because other woman can go call and say them are you too. Next call. Good morning. Welcome to Straight Up. Hello?
Morning, sir.
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
Why you know easy at all? Lady say look at house, man, you know look at man.
Eh?
Lady say she look at house to live. You know look at man.
No, I never say.
No, so you tell him say, you tell her say, you know accommodate you no man.
Well, you have to read between the line, you know.
Yes, that's true.
Or sometimes the line them tight.
Yes. We have a double cross and a St. James here, man.
Yeah, oh, which would that?
Donaldson.
Yeah, who him double cross?
Well, no, I remember saying it was with the PMP, you know, and then him cross over and then now him cross over again.
That is the original meaning of double cross, you know, cross 2 times.
Yeah. Yeah, man, he crossed on the PMP when Mr. Patterson told him in the 90s that him value loyalty over performance.
Yes.
And he come to the JLP. And now, to my surprise, I see him, is he going to run up against Ed Bartlett in the East? Yeah.
Yes.
That classic description of the politics in Jamaica that Mr. Patterson gave some years ago, you think it has changed?
That classic what?
Description of the politics in Jamaica.
Yeah.
That Mr. Patterson gave some years ago.
Yeah, man, it's still applicable. Still applicable. Yeah, it's still applicable. Still apply.
Somehow.
Yes, man, without no difficulty.
Okay.
And I have to agree with the host yesterday who, when Shalman was saying because there's not much scarce benefit, the fight stop. No. The more the benefit scarce is, the more the fight is on.
Oh.
And it not so. It's scarce for outsiders, for the insiders, a whole heap of Nyamins can go on. See, all permanent secretary, I get loan out of agriculture.
Yes.
And people who supposed to guard the bank, are them broke kitchen.
Yes, what I mean. I couldn't agree with him more than the perception of the Chinese, because right now, I'm going to on Chinatown, you know. But anyway, the time short, man, we call it back sometime next week.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Next one. Good morning. Welcome to Straight Up. Hello. Go ahead, please. Good morning and welcome to Straight Up. Go ahead, please. All right, we're going to read some text message. Jerry morning. I'm learning a lot from you and the professor. Oh, my. I'm listening on my sick bed, but I'm enjoying the lesson. Well, I'm so glad we could cheer you up. Next one. Good morning, Jerry. It is true. Henry promised to poison the people with the bread from his bakery coming from P. You tell me when you heard Henry promise to poison the people with his bread. They spread a rumor on him, or an accusation was made that he must go and poison Hermitage Dam and Mona Dam. But you are saying no, him promise to poison people with them bread. Next one. Jerry, could you please see if you can make today's program repeat later? I caught it late and it sounds phenomenally interesting. Thanks. We might have to run the next day because on Fridays I don't have a repeat. We might have to run the next day. Well worth it. Next one. Jerry, how old are you now? Well, for your information, I'm 67 years old. That help you any? Thank you very much, yeah? Well then, welcome. Welcome to Straight Up. Go ahead, please. Come along, please. Go along. Next one. Good morning.
Yeah, morning, sir, Small.
Well, go on.
Yeah, I just really like a comment regarding brother sent a text yesterday say, you know, because yesterday or the day before yesterday, you started the program with the Malcolm X thingy.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Boy, I'm all on this mission myself because I understand how you feel. Most of them think they say, you're not supposed to bring up back the past and all of these things and open back the womb and all of them things. But if you don't know what happened in the past, so you can be able to tell the future.
Yeah, when
people stay, you can't make no decision going forward.
Yeah, when wounds are festering, so you frequently have to open them up. Otherwise it's the same one who kill you.
Yeah, so, your boy might tell him, I like the Malcolm X thing in them, you know, so if they can find more clips on them thing, they just open up the program with them still, because they might like to open up our eyes out here still.
Yes.
Yeah, man, big up yourself.
Thank you very much, dear son.
Yeah, man.
Next caller, please. Good morning and welcome. Welcome.
Sir, good afternoon.
Hello, how you doing?
Not too bad at all. You know, I want to big up one little man, you know, from Brownsville in there, and come on.
Yeah.
When me little boy, and come on, when me little boy, him leave, got England, you know.
Yeah.
And then him leave, got Africa.
Yeah.
Him leave and got Africa from England.
Yes.
And he was in that thing with Mandela, you know. That time when Mandela got prison.
Yes.
He was in it.
Oh,
and yeah. After a while, really 10 years after, I'm seeing back at Brownsville, and he's still in Brownsville right now.
Oh, yeah?
And yes, he's still in Brownsville, I don't want you.
Oh, hold on.
Back at him, come on, in that Brownsville.
Hold on. Is the same Brownsville near to where Portia Simpson come from?
Yes.
Okay.
The man, come on. In my mind, when they're little boy,
yeah.
In England.
Yeah, you told us that. You told us that. We're going to try to see if anybody can call us and tell us about him. But thank you very much.
I don't know anybody that can talk about him, but I know certain things about him, and in that Brownsville right now.
Yes, okay, Yeah, man, we're going to listen out and see if anybody can give you a contact with him. Thank you very much.
Come on again.
Yeah, man. Next one. Let's go to the next call. Good morning. Welcome to Straight Up. Hello.
Morning, Jerry.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Aisha.
Yeah, there.
Yeah, not about it. I'd call you to say, boy, I don't know what happened this morning. I get caught up in something. I missed out. So just as the person was saying, if you could get it repeated, I don't know how it will happen.
No, we can't repeat it tonight. Maybe another night. But it's well worth to repeat.
Yeah, man. For real, man. I don't know how it will happen, but it have to go happen, you know?
Yeah.
And anyway, you know, so you have to play Asante, Amen, and Mary Isaac.
Yeah, but we don't know the name. But hold on, I never give you a copy of the music, them.
Asante have a whole lot of things there from us.
That don't help us. We need a name. We need a name of the music.
Oh, only Rastafari. Only Rastafari.
Holy or only?
Only Rastafari, yes.
Yeah, and Mary name what?
Just Mary as the best of Mary as I think you said it.
Or the Virgin Mary had a baby boy.
Jerry, man. I just calling you know, to just...
No, I will help you, but...
No,
yes, ma'am. I'm not against you, ma'am. I want to find out if it's virgin. All right. We're going to try to see if we can squeeze out something.
Yes,
next. Good morning. Welcome. Straight Up. Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Welcome.
Good morning, Jerry.
Yes, ma'am. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm very well, thanks.
So.
Yes, and that was a very good program with Mr. Hill this morning.
Thank you very much.
Although I caught it kind of late.
Yes.
Yep. But I want to just make it known that pensioners who went for their pension yesterday at the post office did not get their pension.
No, what them say?
Well, the money wasn't there, and those who were to get new books, books were not there either.
Yeah.
And I think that's really disgraceful.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Because, I mean, you realize that it's 2 weeks, so people have come now, wanting their money, taking taxes, all of those things, and then have to turn back, and they don't know when the books are coming.
Yeah.
I think that is just utterly disgraceful, Jerry. Totally.
Oh, you sound so different today.
How different do I sound?
What is your name?
What is my name, Jerry?
You sound different today, no?
Well, what, you mean like better?
Yes, better.
Okay, maybe I had more rest.
And I never knew you could better.
Oh, okay.
Oh, rest. That's great.
Yes.
You going to the banquet?
Not so sure.
All right, thank you very much. Sound good, though.
All right, thanks.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's great. All right, we'll find the music by Mary Isaacs. Look for Mary. Give me the piece by Calm. What name, you know? Asante Amen. Give me a little piece of it. We want to thank you, thank Tanya Richards, thank our guest Bobby Hill. We also want to thank our production assistant, Shadia Walton, and broadcast technician Yain Stewart. Let's please have Mr. Asante Amen, please.
Yes, Yahweh. That's the bar right sweet.
To Jah.
We're on the shores of nowhere, looking out to sea. I turn and kiss your face, and you laugh at me. You laugh at me. How do I feel? Well, I feel like praying, feel like saying, you're so good, so right to be with you tonight. So good, so right to be with you tonight. So good, so right to be with you tonight. There's no space between the ocean, you and me.
Yeah, that's Mary Isaacs and Asante Amen. Those two artists will be singing on the 12 Tribe Banquet tonight. 11th of September, 12 Tribe Banquet, $2,500 Ethiopian food in aid of the Jamaica School of Ethiopia, Shashamane Grade School. Straight up.
News Talk 93 FM. Heard everywhere.
Good afternoon. It's Friday, September 11, with the 12 o'clock newscast here on News Talk 93 FM. I'm Kayla Wright. Coming up in this newscast, former Jamaica Labour Party councillor charged with rape, Don Query, and his alleged accomplice set to appear in court today. Mount Rosser toll increase is now in effect. JLP anxious to see the outcome of the audit of the National People's Cooperative Bank of Jamaica, and Economic Program Oversight Committee urges government not to drag out the calling of general elections.